Anderson got it to Besser in front, backhander scores! The puck back in. Campoli trying to clear it. Burrow just pressed. Got the puck loose to Edwards. Back in for Alex Burrow. Gets up in the air. Now McKinnon to the side. No! With the left glove! Are you kidding me? What a save!
Hey, Canucks Nation, Brandon Alston here, play-by-play for the Edmonton Canucks. You've got it locked in the line change, the Vancouver Canucks podcast.
What's up, Canucks Nation? Welcome back to the Line Change postgame show. If you're new, welcome to the postgame show. Of course, our Vancouver Canucks lose to the Anaheim Ducks by a final score of 5-3. But an entertaining game nonetheless, as you know, they at least showed a lot more fight in this one than they did against the measly St. Louis Blues. Of course, this was ended up being a final score of 5-3 for the Anaheim Ducks. You know, the Canucks were, and I hate to say it, they were right there. And I wonder if actually Adam Foote will say that exact same quote in his post-game presser, which we will, of course, take a listen to a little bit later on. Also, a little bit later on, Gerald will join us in about just under 15 minutes, he mentioned. But let's go over some, before I go into the goals, normally I'm pretty quick to get into the goals and whatnot and all the stats. We're going to do something a little different. I have some pregame notes that I wanted to discuss with you guys. And yes, for if anyone's wondering, yes, I'm going with my Russell look tonight. Sleeveless shirt. I figured spring has sprung, even though the weather hasn't been all that, spectacular and hasn't felt like spring. Still feels like a little bit like winter, but I figured I'd go with my Russell look with the no sleeves. Hopefully Russell does not mind. But getting into the pregame notes, prior to the puck drop, I personally felt as though Tolopilo should have maybe gotten a start tonight, considering that this was now game number 4 in a row for Kevin Lankinen. Although you could make the argument that perhaps Tolo maybe should have started against the Blues, but at the end of the day, it ends up being Lankinen both against the Blues and here tonight against the Ducks. Lankinen was, prior to tonight, 4-0 against the Ducks in his career. He's obviously now 4-1. And of course, Tolo managed to shut out the Ducks the last time they faced off back in, I believe it was January. Now, another thing that I was not really a fan of, well, that's Höglander being scratched again. I'm just not a big fan of, as I've mentioned on this channel in this post game in the past, I'm just not a big fan of young guys getting scratched. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved how Douglas played tonight. That's not a knock on him at all, but I do find it odd how Adam Foote wants to keep scratching Höglander of all people. Like, I know he scratched Sasson the other night. He's scratched Douglas, but he seems to be constantly scratching Höglander. And how do you expect him to be or have some sort of consistency or, be able to get better if he's constantly sitting in the press box? So I don't agree with that at all. Not a fan of it. Obviously, prior to puck drop, I was obviously hoping for some more fight from the Canucks, unlike what we saw against the Blues. And of course, luckily in this game, we saw some of that fight, and we'll get into that a little bit later when we break down period by period. Now, on that note, those are all I have for pregame notes. So let's go ahead and dive into the goals, and let's go ahead and do just that. Let me bring this up here. Boom. All right, so the game starts off with Jake DeBrusk scoring his 15th of the season on the power play. He seems to be Mr. Power Play, as that's where a large amount of his goals have been scored. And of course, this was a beautiful goal by Jake DeBrusk, assisted by Elias Pettersson, the forward, and Filip Hronek. A nice little fake by Petey with the shot, passes it down to DeBrusk, and he just squirts it past Lucas Dostal at 5:45 of the first period. So, and then that was all the goals we had in the first period. Canucks led by 1 going into the second period, but of course it was Alex Killorn scoring his 12th of the season at 5:26 of the second period, assisted by John Carlson and Beckett Seneca. Of course, Seneca has been a great story for the Anaheim Ducks. He's right there with the Calder race. Obviously, I do feel as though why is his name slipping? How do I forget this kid's name on the Islanders? But I think he's pretty much got it, down on lock when it comes to the Calder Trophy. I know Ivan Demidov is right there too, but Beckett Seneca is absolutely right there when it comes to the Calder race. So he could be top 3 at the end of the season. We shall see. But moving back to the game, Mikael Granlund would score his 15th of the season at 7:50 to give Anaheim a lead, assisted by Leo Carlson and John Carlson. Obviously, there was a little tweet out that went out earlier by JPAT that, mentioned how the fact that there is 3 Petterssons, a bunch of Carlsons on both sides, at least for the Carlsons. So he was probably going to have a field day with that. And of course, with this one, you had Leo Carlson and John Carlson, the Anaheim Carlsons, assisting on this Granlund goal. As I mentioned, that made it 2-1 Anaheim. Of course, and then Brock Besser would tie it up on the power play, his 17th of the season, assisted by Filip Hronek and Elias Pettersson, the forward, at 13:13 of the second period. And we were all tied up at 2. Moving forward to the third period, Mikael Granlund would score his 2nd of the game, and on the power play, his 16th of the season, assisted by Chris Kreider and John Carlson at 1 minute and 1 second into the third period. That would give Anaheim the lead 3-2. And of course, Drew O'Connor, who continues his strong season, would score his career high, 17th of the season at 2:22 of the third period, assisted by Evander Kane. So a little over a minute later, O'Connor would tie the game back up at 3 apiece. And then it would be Mason McTavish scoring his 14th of the season, assisted by Jackson Lacombe and Alex Killorn at 5:45 of the third period. And this would turn out to be the game winner. The Ducks ended up adding a empty netter by Troy Terry, assisted by Chris Kreider and Leo Carlson at 19:55 of the third period, but not before we saw some dazzling goaltending by Elias Pettersson, the forward. Now, those are the goals. Let's get into the game stats, and then I'll go over my actual notes for period by period. At the end of this one, 30 shots for the Canucks to Anaheim's 34. Face-off percentage was 60% for the Vancouver Canucks, a 33 out of 55. And of course, the Ducks were a 40%, 22 for 55. Power play, the Canucks were slightly better, 66.7%, and they went 2 for 3. Then you had the Ducks who went 1 for 3, and as I mentioned, had a 33.3%. Hits were 21-13 in favor of the Ducks. Block shots were 8-7 in favor of the Canucks. Giveaways were 19 for the Ducks, 14 for the Canucks, and then takeaways were 8 for the Anaheim Ducks and 4 for the Vancouver Canucks. Let's take a look at the player stats. We have here Brock Besser with a goal, but he was a -2 in this one. 18 minutes and 53 seconds of ice time, with his lone goal being on the power play. He also had 3 shots on goal. Drew O'Connor with a goal as well, 16 minutes and 4 seconds of ice time, with 4 shots and 1 block and 1 hit. Elias Pettersson, 2 assists in this one, 17 minutes and 36 seconds of ice time. No shots on goal, no actual registered shots on goal, but he did have a shot attempt that was actually blocked, and he also had 1 block as well, which was, I believe, the goaltending save that he made near the end of the game there. Curtis Douglas was a -2, 6 minutes and 55 seconds of ice time, 3 shots on goal, 2 hits. So he did quite a bit in that, less than 7 minutes of ice time. He obviously had a great chance that we'll talk about in our notes. Teddy Bluger, 18 minutes and 23 seconds of ice time, 0s across the board for Teddy Bluger. Atsu Ratu, a -2, 8 minutes and 29 seconds of ice time with 2 hits. Max Sasson, back in the lineup, a -1, 10 minutes and 30 seconds of ice time, 0s across the board. Jake DeBrusk with that beautiful power play goal in the first period, 15 minutes and 6 seconds of ice time with 4 shots on goal. Evander Kane, 1 assist, a +1, 14 minutes and 36 seconds of ice time with 5 shots. Liam Ogren, a -1, 16 minutes and 36 seconds of ice time with 1 shot. You had Marco Rossi. Unfortunately, his point streak comes to an end. I believe it was at 6 games last I saw. He was a -2 in this one, 18 minutes and 38 seconds of ice time with 1 shot, 1 block, and 3 hits. Then you had Linus Karlsson, who was a -1, and I believe that is 16 minutes and 57 seconds of ice time with 2 shots. And then looking at the defense, you had Tom Belander, 19 minutes and 54 seconds of ice time with 1 shot. P.O. Joseph, who is also back in the lineup instead of Victor Mancini, or Vittorio, as some may call him. He was a -2. He did have a pretty bad defensive breakdown during this game that I'll get to in my notes. 12 minutes and 48 seconds of ice time with 1 block, 2 hits. Philip Hronik, who had 2 assists in this one, but he was a -3 in this. 26 minutes and 27 seconds of ice time with 5 shots, 1 block, 1 hit. Zeep William, who is on the top unit with Philip Hronik, -1, 20 minutes and 23 seconds of ice time with 2 blocks and 1 hit. DPD had 15 minutes and 38 seconds of ice time with 1 block. And then you had Marcus Pettersson with 21 minutes and 55 seconds of ice time with 1 shot and 1 hit. Of course, Kevin Lankinen, 29 saves on 33 shots, led in 4 goals. His save percentage was at .879. Of course, not that spectacular, but also not terrible either. No, save percentage was just under .900, slightly. Of course, based on that, 4 goals against. And of course, we know Tolopilo did not start in this one. But going through my notes, we'll go all the way back to the first period. As I mentioned with the Jake DeBrusk goal, great work on the power play. And, PD faking the one-timer before dishing it off to DeBrusk. I really actually like that one from PD. The one time he decides not to shoot it, I actually don't have too much of a problem with it. Then again, who knows what could have happened if he actually, attempted that shot. Canucks looked good to start this game off, where I felt as though they were really buzzing and really had the Ducks on their heels a bit. About 10 minutes into this game, I had some zip, as Adam Foote likes to say. I did see some zip from this team, obviously compared to the game against St. Louis. Almost a nice chance on the 2-on-1 with DeBrusk and Douglas. Bit of a bad pass from DeBrusk, kind of passed it to his feet, and Douglas was not able to contain the puck, and ended up not being a chance on that, but it could have been a very good chance between the two. May have been a missed high stick. I didn't really see anything. I'd have to go back and look, but it looked like O'Connor may have been high sticked because he was bleeding alongside his cheek or his chin here. I did notice that just prior to them going to a commercial break, as they had the camera on him. I mentioned earlier, not a fan of Höglander sitting again. Obviously, Sasson, I mentioned, was the last odd man out. Honestly, I never thought Sasson should have been scratched, to be honest, because I feel as though he has earned, his place, in this lineup, having spent the majority of the season up with the big club. Now, hopefully, on that note, once Kane is gone, these young guys won't get scratched next season, although I'm holding my breath on that, especially if Foote ends up staying as the coach, because I think he'll still end up doing it just because he seems to like doing it, because he keeps doing it. Anyway, obviously Langton with some great saves to start this game off, knowing how good this Ducks team is offensively. They got a lot of young talent on this Ducks team. So the fact that he was able to keep them in this game, great stuff from Kevin Lankinen here tonight, despite taking the loss. I absolutely loved how physical Ratu has been as of late. And I also, on that note, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him put on a little bit of muscle this summer, if he really wants to, lean into, throwing the body around. If he puts on maybe a little bit of muscle, I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Shots after the first period were 11-7 in favor of the Anaheim Ducks. High danger chances were 4-1 in favor of the Anaheim Ducks in the first period. Canucks' obvious lone high danger chance was on the power play. Scoring chances were 6 for the Canucks in the first period. Scoring chances for the Ducks were 9 in this first period. I believe. Okay, so I had Vancouver's shooting percentage. I believe this is. I should know what this is. Shooting percentage. Shots for percentage were 38.46 for the Vancouver Canucks in the first period. The Anaheim Ducks were a 61.54%. And then the Canucks' Corsi percent was 35.71. Anaheim was 64.29. So you can tell Anaheim a bit better in that first period than the Canucks. Expected goals for the Canucks in the first period was 0.36, and the Anaheim Ducks were 0.94. Moving on to the second period, my notes missed a good majority of this period, unfortunately, because I was making dinner. So I missed probably 10 to 15 minutes of this second period because I was making some bolognese. I did notice, though, when I got done making dinner, I did see a defensive breakdown on the Killorn goal as Hronek, the lone defenseman back with P.O. Joseph, caught at the goal, caught at the red line. Bad break on the second goal on a rebound. Can't fault Lankinen on that one. I had to use the goal visualizer for that one as I missed that one. Obviously, the Ducks with 2 goals in a little over 2 minutes to regain the lead, gain the lead, I should say. I noticed a nice rush chance by Elias Pettersson, unable to get the shot off on the power play. That may have been his one shot attempt that we talked about earlier. Beautiful setup on the Besser power play goal to tie the game up. I absolutely loved the little kind of partial no-look pass from Hronek to Besser. So I thought that was great. Besser, speaking of Brock Besser, he passes Tony Tanti on the all-time goals leader list, who he is now at 471 goals in his career. So a big congratulations to Brock Besser on that. I know another power play goal by the Canucks on that mention. And then you had Elias Pettersson getting his 500th point of his career, as well as his 300th assist on that goal, on that Brock Besser goal as well. And then you had a great chance from Curtis Douglas, who was coming in on a breakaway and nearly scored his first NHL goal, but he was absolutely robbed by Lucas Dostal on that one. So great chance for Douglas there. He showed some smooth hands for a guy who's 6'9". Speaking of Douglas, I think the Canucks should absolutely look into re-signing Douglas come this offseason. He is obviously going to be a UFA 6 this upcoming summer. So he's going to be hitting the market a little bit earlier than expected. But I do hope the Canucks do take a crack at re-signing him, because you want this guy. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later too when Gerald's on. I saw him kind of go after Seneca at one point, because Seneca had this really, I don't want to call it dirty, but it was I thought it should have been a boarding call on Marcus Pettersson at one point in this game. And you saw Douglas go right after Seneca, and Seneca wanted no part of him. He probably looked up at him and went, "Oh, you're big. Nuh-uh. I want nothing to do with you." So hopefully the Canucks do end up re-signing Douglas. Speaking of Douglas, again, bit of a bad penalty taken by Douglas at the end of the second period there. And then another bad penalty by the Canucks, DPD for delay a game. Obviously the Canucks got a little frantic there in front of the net, and DPD kind of just flung the puck out of play. And Canucks ended up going into the third period on down a 2-man advantage going into the third period. But the Canucks were doing quite well on the faceoff dot after 2 periods. Through 2 periods, they were actually at a 64.1%. I know they ended up finishing at a 60%, but they were at a 64.1% after 2 periods. This is something I really like, having Bouillon paired with Hronek. I think I've said this on one of the post games, that you need to have Bouillon and Hronek on the same pairing. You need to have Bouillon on that first pairing. Just, get that chemistry between him and Hronek, have him learn from Hronek, basically be like a sponge and soak in everything from Hronek because of how great Hronek has been playing. Maybe he can rub off a little bit on that on Bouillon. So yeah, I've always thought Bouillon should be on the first pairing with Hronek, and I'm really glad that they decided to go that route. I can't tell you if they were on for the entire game, but I know they started the game with Bouillon and Hronek on the first pairing. Speaking of Hronek, having another really great game, been consistent all season long, and has really shined since Quentin Hughes left. We all wondered, could he handle a pairing or run a pairing on his own? That was the major question last year when Quinn Hughes was still here. Obviously, we knew Hronek and Quinn were, partners on that first pairing. And we always wondered, can Hronek, do it alone with his own pairing? And he's absolutely, exceeded expectations, at least in my opinion, so far this year, especially since Quinn Hughes has been traded. Now, moving on. Shots were a lot more even after the second period. They were 13-12 in favor of Anaheim after 2 periods. And, the high danger chances were 6-4 in favor of Anaheim at 5-on-5 in the second period. Scoring chances for the Canucks were 11 in the second period. Scoring chances were 10 for the Ducks. So Canucks a slight edge there when it comes to scoring chances. The Canucks' shooting SF percentage was a 42.11. The Anaheim Ducks' were a 57.89%. The Canucks' Corsi was 47.22%, and the Ducks was 52.78% in the second period. The expected goals for the Canucks in this period were 1.29, and then the Ducks were 1.06. Moving into the third period, did not like that third goal by the Ducks. Bit of a gaffe there from Lankinen. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I can't blame him too much because he has really kept the Canucks in this game. Score could have been a lot worse considering the firepower that the Ducks have on offense, as I mentioned before. Great goal by Drew O'Connor, getting a career-high 17 goals. He has had a really good season, especially considering he, if you guys remember, earlier in the season, he was Gerald's personal whipping boy, earlier on in the season. So he's really managed to turn things around. So big congratulations to Drew O'Connor on setting a new career high in goals. Great chance great stop by Lankinen on a Gauthier breakaway. We know how good Cutter Gauthier has been this year. The fact that Lankinen absolutely dead robbed him on a breakaway, you'd love to see it. Also, a great chance by Carlson, managed to actually catch Dostal out of position a little bit. So Dostal almost with a bit of a gaffe himself in that towards the end of the third period there. If only that had gone in, we would have probably gone to overtime, potentially even a shootout. And they actually kind of joked about that on the broadcast, talking about, imagine if this game went to a shootout. You have the Ducks who are 8-0 in the shootout and Lankinen who has not let in a goal in the shootout. So if only. But Petey, we talked about Petey earlier, with a great stop, showing off his goaltending skills again. They talked about it being, street hockey skills, goaltending. So I absolutely love that from Petey. Looks like he used his glove as like a blocker to kind of like stop the goalie was pulled. So it would have been a wide open net for Troy Terry. He did end up, getting back that empty net goal at the end of the game there. But like I said, Petey with a great stop, showing off his goaltending skills. I felt as though Canucks were definitely the better team in the third period, but they just couldn't tie it up. They couldn't beat Lucas Dostal, who is a fantastic goaltender. So you can't really harp too much on that. Dostal has been great for the Ducks this season. High danger chances were 9-2 in favor of the Canucks in the third period. So that's what I mean by them kind of being the better team in the third period. They really, turned on the Jets and were trying to tie up this game. Scoring chances were 15 for the Canucks, and the Ducks only had 5 scoring chances in the third period. So another indicator that the Canucks really played really well in that third period and were attempting to tie it up. The Canucks' SF percentage was a 64.71%. The Ducks were a 35.29. The Canucks' Corsi was 66.67%, and then the Anaheim Ducks was at 33.33%. The Canucks' expected goals in this third period were 1.85, and the Anaheim Ducks were at 0.62 expected goals. Taking a look at some post-game notes. I got some post-game notes here too. As I've kind of already mentioned in this, Canucks played a much better game than they did against St. Louis. Was an entertaining game. As I just mentioned, the Canucks kind of dominated the third period. Okay, maybe not completely dominated, but they were definitely, as I said, the better team in that third period, but just couldn't beat Dostal, who made some pretty big saves towards the end of the game there. As I've kind of already touched on, love the effort tonight from the Canucks. Another one of those perfect tank losses where the effort was there. I mentioned this at the top. Tonight was definitely we were right there type of game. So, but one thing I wanted to point out, unfortunately, Rossi's point streak, of course, comes to an end. He did not get a point here tonight, which is unfortunate because he has been playing lights out as of late. But, perhaps he can start a new one on Thursday in the Canucks' game on that day. But as I mentioned, I believe his point streak ends at, I believe it's 6 games here after tonight. So it officially ends at 6 games. Besser starting a new point streak with a goal here tonight. I mentioned already Elias Pettersson, a 2-point night. Hronek, a 2-point night as well. I already kind of touched on Pettersson and no shots on goal, at least registered shots on goal. He did have one attempt that was blocked. As I mentioned, earlier, I believe it was his little breakout that resulted in that missed shot, but he does need to shoot the puck. Perhaps he kind of double clutched a little bit on that attempt there. But I mentioned earlier, him faking that shot and then feeding it to DeBrusk was pretty darn good, and I quite like that. Speaking of Petey, he was a 54% on the faceoff, 7 wins, 6 losses. Bluger was a 67% on the faceoff, 8 wins and 4 losses. Ratu, slightly lower than that, a 64%, 7 wins, 4 losses. Canucks as a team, as I mentioned, were a 60% on the faceoff. I did catch a little bit of Petey's, post-game comments where he, kind of joked about being like an e-bug for the Canucks. He also mentioned, soccer, and that's kind of where, he gets that, him, playing goal kind of thing. I kind of missed those comments. All I heard was soccer in that. So I quickly wrote that down. But it was good to see him, crack a smile and crack a little bit of a joke despite the loss. So all that talk about, the culture changing and, the vibes in the locker room, despite a loss seem to be still okay. But those are my notes. So let's still waiting on Gerald. I'm sure he'll be coming on shortly. Let me just check something here real quick. All right, while we wait for Gerald, because I don't want to go over this next part just yet, because I wanted to get into this with him. But let's get into your comments, because I see a bunch of them in there. So let's go over your comments for a little bit. We got, of course, Duolingo in the house. He's always here, at least when he can, permitting it's not after dark. Good to see Duo in here. Was hoping for a W. So was I. Simon, good to see you. Duo, liking the foot signature right there. I do not know that song. I will have to look that song up. I think EP40 heard my Bambi comment and got mad tonight. Shafkovsky, the Islanders kid. Yeah, Schaefer. I can't believe I forgot his freaking name. I knew it was, Matt something. Duolingo, Headspace has arrived. Why even bother, man? Same That's all. At least the effort was there. At least the effort was there from the Canucks tonight. You can't deny that the effort wasn't there. I think we should name a captain that doesn't get traded. Definitely. And I think, obviously, Hronek is probably someone they are not looking to trade unless they're looking to maximize his value. But again, with how they've kind of been grooming him to be captain and talk so highly of him, and the fact that he said he doesn't want to go anywhere, I don't see him getting traded anytime soon. We will talk a little bit about, a potential captain, not now, but maybe 5 years from now. I have an idea on who could be a captain if the Canucks need a captain at that point. Maybe 5 or 6 years from now. Well, give or take. Harry, good to see you, by the way. But yeah, we're just waiting on G. Actually, maybe we can get into something else because I did want to get you guys involved in this. Let me actually just bring something up because I can't remember. So I don't know if you guys saw, but I did a video. Believe it was the other day. Actually, no, it was earlier today. I did one talking about. Hang on, let's see if I can find it. No, basically, in this video, I talked about which Canucks are eligible for contract extensions this summer and honestly who should get them. So if you guys haven't checked that video, definitely go check that out. But I want to ask you guys here in the chat, I'm going to kind of quickly go through the names, and I want you guys to give me a yay or a nay in the chat on who you would want to extend, or you can even do a yes or no. I'm going to just go through the names real quick, and after each name, I want you guys to let me know, or you can even put the name beside it as well. Let me know yay or no, or yes or no on extending this player this upcoming offseason. So let's go over the first one. First one, Teddy Bluger. Yay or nay on re-signing Teddy Bluger? Let me know in the comments or in the chat. I'll give you guys a few seconds to do that. You guys can go ahead and do that. And then we'll just, while I wait for you guys to do that, I'll keep going down the list. We have Guillaume Brisebois. Is that a yay or a no on extending him this summer? Let me know in the chat. All right, next up. Curtis Douglas. Is that
It's
a
me.
yes or no? Yeah, Curtis Douglas.
You hear me?
Is that a yay? Yeah, I can hear you. Is that a yay or a nay on re-signing Douglas this summer?
Oh. Are you asking chat or are you asking me? Sorry, I just got on.
Well, you can it's okay. You can answer it too. It's free. It's for the chat and you. Just something fun I thought we could do in the post game. Get a little, interactive.
I would. I think I would. Depends on. Really is dependent on. What the plan is and what sort of forwards could they potentially target in the off season or potential trades. I mean, it all has to do with everything leading up to the draft also, because at the draft, a lot can change and a lot can change the dynamics of the team. But what you have right now, it's Like if you stick with what you have right now, yeah, I would keep him.
Mhm.
But it'd be like
All right,
maybe like a show me deal.
Mhm. Stevie in the chat. Shenane. Next up, we have Derek Forbort. Yay or nay?
Nay. Yeah, so the reason why I'm late is because Tuesdays is my basketball night, and then I went to catch the game. If you guys are on the Discord, then you probably saw a picture. And then I had to go pick up a helmet from my buddy John, and then I was just seeing Stevie, Japan 4, who graciously lent me a pair of his sticks for Thursday's Canuck experience. So special shout out to Stevie, Japan 4, for doing that. Now I probably might even see him tomorrow because I don't have all my equipment yet. But for those who are watching and those who are like, what are you talking about? I will be playing a game, an alumni game at Rogers Arena on Thursday afternoon. So I'll be there from pretty much 10 to 10 for like a whole 12 hours, watching the Canucks practice, watching the Kings practice, and then play a game of my own. And then have lunch with the alumni. And I think we spend some time at the casino at Park, and then we go to the game and watch it from Club 500, where I don't know if Rain is in the house, but he did the whole Club 500 a couple of weeks ago, and I'm excited for that. So that's what's happening on Thursday. So post game on Thursday, I don't know. I might. And for Tyler, if you want to do it because there's no headspace on Thursday. It's going to be moved to Friday. I think the same time. We still have to, like, Irvin and I still have to work things out. But I think I'm going to be passed out to even do a post game with you on Thursday because it's going to be morning till night. And but I'll let you guys know. Irvin wants me to do like a whole session about the experience, and hopefully I'll get some good content, and there'll be actually video as opposed to a live stream on what happened on Thursday. But yeah, we were just talking about sorry, who were we, extend or not? You were just talking about it was Forbort, and I think everyone said no.
Yeah, I said no on this as well. I'm just going through a Canucks Army article that just has a list of players. So next one is Evander Kane.
Bye.
Yeah. Urban says extend Kane. What are you smoking? Nah.
Yeah, if the cap hits like 1 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that
if he has like
12 million?
1 million. Oh.
12 million, and is that supposed to be like an infinity sign? Oh, 6
times 6. No.
Percentage would be 5. I think he might be going for 5, but no. 6 would match PD's contract.
Mm-hmm. We got Joe LeBay.
Oh, $12. Okay, cool.
Oh, $12. Okay, yeah. $12 maybe. Wait, no. Next up
actually,
we have Joe LeBay.
No, because not even for $12. Because I was at the Canadian Brew House. This is not sponsored by them at all, but I did get tickets to a game last time I went. I met a fellow. His name is Adam, and him and I had a discussion about foot because of Headspace, the BS segment. And we did talk about Kane, and what I said to him specifically was why we didn't trade him at the deadline. And the reason is it's for the cap space. Or sorry, not for cap space. Doesn't matter if it's 5.1 million at this point in the season or 1.5 million. We need the roster space. We need the roster spot for kids. Because at this point right now, if you still have Kane taking up a spot, you have players like Hoglander not being able to play. You have players like Curtis Douglas who might have to sit. You have players like Max Sasson, not having a roster spot for, I don't know, like Kudratsov to come up. Like, that is the problem here right now. It has nothing to do with money. It's more of a roster spot than anything else. Because you can only dress 23 players. And if you have Kane dressing as one of them, then we're done. So I don't care how close, the Kane family and the Aquilini family is. What's done is done. Just let him get his 1,000 games and we'll call it a day. And yeah, you can't get a beer for $12 at Rogers.
$12 at Rogers. Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Joe LeBate. Yay or nay?
I actually really liked Joe LeBate in the beginning of the season when he came up, when the injuries started piling up. Joe LeBate actually played pretty well, and given that if he's in Abbey, I would re-sign him on a 2-way contract just in case there's a chance he can come up. But that's me.
Yeah, and even in this article, it says, he had a terrific training camp, provides size, physicality, and experience down on the farm. It says nothing about, the big club, but he would definitely work out in Abbey.
Yeah.
Next up is Patera. Yay or nay?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, Patera was brought in. Patera was brought in mainly as a insurance, just in case, Demko falls, Lankinen falls. That's why Patera played, and Tolpil was injured at one point. But he didn't play very well, and you could probably find another goalie somewhere that could do the same job in the off season. But the biggest issue, I think, is with your main guy, Tolopilo, and what's going to happen with him. Because if Demko is ready for training camp, then you can't have like a 3-headed goalie situation. And like, what's going to happen? I don't think Tolopilo can go back down to Abbey as of the beginning of next season.
I don't think he can, even in training camp. He has to clear waivers in order to go down, no matter what.
So we're kind of screwed. So why sign another Patera? You have Medvedov down there, but he's not ready, obviously. And then you have Ty Mueller. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, the goalie situation is really tough when you have, what is it? 9 plus 5, $13 million locked up on 2 goalies. Like, that is a huge asset management issue. Like, I think management needs to decide what to do with Lankinen and Demko. And the way Adam Foote is playing Lankinen right now, it feels like he's trying to
maybe boost his trade
showcase him a little bit. Showcase him a little bit. So.
And then Urban does say, just carry 3 goalies. You only have 2 by November.
Yeah.
But moving on, I'm in the same boat with no on re-signing Patera. And it's kind of like the same thing you just kind of talked about that they kind of highlight in the article. Mentioned, the Canucks might need to sign another goalie if they have to move on from either Lankinen or Tolo. in the offseason, but they would likely look to sign a younger veteran with a bit more upside than Patera. But that is probably, slim chances of that.
Old Trisket legs, Demko.
I saw that. We're going to move towards more RFAs, like pending RFAs. First up is Neil Zaman, who I honestly completely forgot was even still a part of this organization.
No, you know what? At one point, they almost brought him up.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the trade deadline, I think Neil Zaman was the next to come up. If Kane and Bluger and was traded, then you would need another one up technically, because you'd only have Sasson, Petey, Ratu, and Rossi. And Rossi at the time was still injured, so you needed to bring one up, and Amon was the next one. But given, I don't know. I think he needs a start if he really wants to play in the NHL and fight for a spot. Like, it's tough because if you can't even make the roster on the Canucks, then you're pretty much done. Is how I see it. So I don't think there is a need, but if he wants to stay in Abbey, then great. Like, that would be. They need all the help they can get.
Yeah. I know Irvin's asking, can Amon do a two-way deal? I'm not entirely sure if he can. But in this, because he's an RFA, in this article it mentions there's no reason to at least make him a qualifying offer. He might also want to go, if they don't resign him, he may go, to Europe. Go play in Sweden.
Because right now his contract's actually $825,000 for 2 years, so it's like a $1.65 million. This is the last of it, and he spent the majority of it in the AHL with Abbey. And in 50 games this year, he has 5 goals, 28 assists, and 33 points.
Which is not terrible.
I don't know. Like, he probably played a lot more minutes during, the first 21 games because of all the injuries and call-ups and whatnot. And then afterwards, I think he kind of fell down on the depth chart. But yeah, definitely give him a qualifier. His career right now, he has 132 NHL games with 8 goals, 21 assists for 29 points. So it looks more likely that he will be an AHL lifer at this point.
Yes. Next up, we have P.O. Joseph is the next one on this list.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Like a big maybe.
Yeah. Here in the article, it says maybe, but probably not. Just because he didn't make much of an impact. They could also maybe look to sign another Joseph type, as in an older defenseman with some upside remaining. I did mention in my video on this, because I actually mentioned it. I couldn't remember if it was you or if it was someone else who mentioned the idea of bringing back Ian Cole.
Me.
I thought it was you. So I mentioned that. I was like, why don't they bring back Ian Cole and have him be like that veteran defenseman, bring him back on like a 1-year deal or whatever, and bring him back to help with the younger D-men.
Yeah, but does he want to? That's the problem. Yeah,
that is the big what if with that one. But he was like someone who came to mind when I thought of maybe a older defenseman. He's the first person that came to mind.
Yeah.
What would he want to leave Utah, though?
At this point right now, I think there's just a lot of what ifs. Because when it comes to the offseason, if we're only going to be able to pick up players that the prize teams don't want. I mean, that's how we got P.O. Joseph. That's how we got, Pia Suter for some odd reason, because he had a down year. So I think management, to be very honest, we have to give them credit for finding these sort of gems, these reclamation projects.
Sherwood being another one.
Oh no, Sherwood, Nashville offered Sherwood money. They wanted to sign him, but he was like, no, I'm going to free agency. And
they didn't offer him enough.
He just left. Yeah. And then the Canucks came, and at that point, like, he's like, yeah, we're done. Like, because Canucks at that point were doing quite well, like fairly well. When Sherwood signed, it was just that season where I think Sherwood signed in 24. So he had the 24, 25 season, 25, 26 season, 2-year deal. Yes. And that's why he wanted to come, because Canucks were a playoff team at that point.
Yeah. And they just come off the 23 postseason run where they took the Oilers to Game 7 of the second round.
Yeah.
And of course, that was when, yeah, and of course, we still had Quinn. We still had JT at the time.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We have Klimovich. Danila Klimovich. Yay or nay?
Let's see here.
He is in year 5 with this organization, and he has never played a single NHL game.
He's 23 years old, right shot, 6'2", 203 pounds, pretty big body. Abby this year, he has 27 points, 13 goals, 14 assists. I would qualify him. Yeah, I would qualify him. It really depends also on, Lekaramäki's status. But I think he can Klimovich could be a good Abby, like a stable Abby player. So he's an RFA. Yeah, I would just tender him on an offer. I mean, the qualifying offer is only $874. So, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. Unless he wants to go overseas, unless he doesn't want to play in Abbey, then he will likely go overseas. But next up, we have Jack Thompson, the guy who we got in exchange for Jet Wu, who's actually been playing very well down in Abbey.
Yes, but depends on his.
Probably at least qualify him. At least qualify him.
Qualify. He's another right shot D. Like, yes, you have to qualify this one. You can never have an abundance of right shot defensemen. I mean, he's on the he's the average. He's 6'1", 190 pounds. With the San Jose AHL team this year, 12 points, 3 goals, 9 assists, not bad. I don't know too much more about him. But yeah, I would either way, I would qualify him.
Yeah, and he's younger than Jet Wu was. He's a fair bit younger. So there's some upside for him. I personally haven't seen too much because I haven't been able to watch any of the Abbey games. But maybe I'll talk to Brando or B-Man about him but I have heard that he's been playing lights out in Abbey since he got traded.
Yeah. It also depends on Mancini, right? Is he going to be an AHL lifer, or is he going to finally make the step next offseason or next season?
Very true. Sorry about that. The fly just flew in front of my face, so I'm just trying to catch it. Next up, we have 3. So they've grouped 3 players together, and that's Clayton Cole, Jaden Grube, and Chase Stillman.
I would keep Chase. Actually, Chase and Grube, because Grube we just got back. So, yeah.
Okay, now these are newly eligible for extensions as of July 1st. Now I saw Irvin's comment earlier about William and his extension that I wanted to talk about separately, because I did another video on that talking about the what Rick Dollywall reported earlier about the Canucks maybe wanting to give him at 8x8, maybe even 9x8, like $9 million per 8 over 8 years, just because it's he compared it to the Luke Hughes contract as well as the Jackson Lacombe one. He was trying to compare it to those contracts because they got that, and I definitely think William should get that if those two get it. But as I mentioned, newly eligible, point blank, Z William, yay or nay? Not necessarily 9x8, but just extending him this summer.
No, he can just be extended, but he doesn't need to be signed until next offseason.
Yeah.
So,
but do you think they should get it done, though?
Yeah, hell yeah. I think they should get it done, but I think management is going to do the stupid thing and wait. They're going to wait until next offseason, and
that is fair. That is very fair. But I think
and the price is just going to be
it up. Yeah. But the reason people are bringing it up now is because, remember, September 15th is the deadline where they can't have 8-year contracts. So that's why they're thinking offer him an 8-year deal now, because you won't be able to after September 15th. So lock him up long term with that 8-year deal, whether it's 8x8 or 9x8. I'm not particular for either one, but if it's 8-year deal, do it now, before that September 15th deadline, because then you can't.
I mean, it would be it would be ideal, because if they actually do extend them to the 8x8, then this rebuild is going to be focused. It's going to be centered around Buell.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, might as well. Like, instead of these stupid bridge deals that they did with Quinn and then with PD, like, I think might as well just do it. Just rip the Band-Aid off, do it. But like, the comparables were Luke Hughes, and look at how that's gone. Like, Jersey's gonna have to do like it's gonna suck to play in Jersey. So yeah, I mean, all for it if they can. Be right back.
Okay. All right, I'll keep going with the chat on these. But actually, first, I will quickly answer this. Where is it? From Shardle. Yes, they are real tattoos. Yeah. Complete, full arm. No, complete. Even my back right there. Yeah, they are real. Don't worry, they're not those stickers or anything like that, or paint. They are real tattoos. Yeah. Now they're rub-on tattoos. Shh, Irvin, stop spilling my secrets. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, they are real. Don't worry. See? There you go. But we'll get back to these names. Next up on this list is Filipino. Yay or nay? Let me know in the chat, or yes or no in the chat. You guys probably already know my answer on this one. Mine is obviously a no on extending Hedl for obvious reasons because of his injuries. And I think it would be irresponsible to talk contract until that changes. So, yeah. I mean, the Canucks have already extended Demko when they know he's injury prone. So the last thing you want is for Canucks to do that again. If they extend Hedl, probably going to have a lot of Canucks fans up in arms going, what are you doing? So. Yeah, it does suck for Hedl, for sure. But can't offer this guy an extension if he can't stay healthy. So then again, we said the same thing about Demko, and look at what they did. There you go, and extend Demko. But at least Demko is only 3 years, but I guess it's a little bit different when it's a goalie compared to a forward. Next one up is Jonathan Lekaramaki. We talked about him a little bit earlier, but Lekaramaki, yes or no at extending him this summer? Not that you need to. Again, these ones that I'm talking about now are ones that are simply eligible for an extension. Doesn't mean they have to be extended on July 1st of this year.
Yeah, I think oh my God, Lekaramaki, I think they are gonna wait on him. I would extend him, but I think they're gonna wait on him.
Yeah, he's definitely someone who I'd wait. Did you hear me mention Hedl? I'm assuming, is that a no for you?
No. I want him to retire. That's how I feel.
Me too.
I want him to take care of his family. I want him to be able to be there for his family.
Yeah. All right, next up, one of your favorites, Doc, Drew O'Connor. Yes or no for extending him?
No. Do you know why? Do you know why I'm saying no? I'm not like he just so 27 points this season. He just got another goal. He scored today, right?
Yeah, he has passed his career high. So he's 17 goals is his new career high as of this year.
17 goals and 7 points, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why I say no. Okay, how about you answer first? Do you yes or no?
For me, it's a no. Not for the same reasons, just because.
Probably not for the same reasons, but why?
Just I don't know. I don't know exact reason, but I'm just gonna say no, just because that.
Because I said
I don't have
no.
No. I had said no already.
Okay, so let me break this down. So who was just traded to Columbus?
Garland.
Exactly. And what happened with Garland? He was extended last offseason when he could have been extended this offseason or before this offseason. And they screwed it up. So instead of getting a first, they got a second and a third. Imagine you extending Doc I mean, he's not my whipping boy anymore. Like, he's probably done a lot more than asked for already. But the thing is, you can't have those extra years. It's going to be hard. Like, does Doc fit into this whole rebuild? That is kind of like the question. Because Drew Doc is 27 at this point right now. He's gonna be looking for a long-term contract. He's not gonna be looking for these like 2-year, 3-year, whatever, like a bridge. He's gonna be looking for bank. So it's gonna be a minimum 5 to 6 year deal. It's gonna be a Sherwood deal. And no, because you need leverage at the trade deadline. So as much as I like how he's playing right now, and hopefully he's going to play even better next season and break this year's, career high, it just gives more leverage for the Canucks to trade him at the deadline. And teams might be looking, because teams were sniffing around on Doc this trade deadline anyways.
Yeah.
Right? But obviously the deal was not good enough for the Canucks. So at that point, next season, at the trade deadline, you can trade him if he's playing lights out like a Sherwood. Then you can easily get at least a second round for him. And that's it. Then that team can extend him or not extend him. They have him for the playoffs, and that's good. You're not going to be trading for someone at the trade deadline that has term like Columbus did. They took a huge bet on Garland.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what we got for Garland is actually
pretty good.
It's more than expected, because the guy's 6-year deal, 6x6, hasn't even started yet. So think about that. Imagine signing Doc to a 6x6 and it's not proven. Who in the hell would trade for Doc at that point? And given he's 27, you have all these other players. Like you have Buem that's 20. You have Karamaki that's 21, I think. You have, all these young kids. Like the only ones that I think at this point you should be keeping or kind of stuck with is like Besser. Right? Besser has 6 more years at the beginning of next season. And he's going to be 30. So would you need another Doc? No, I don't think you need another Doc. I think it's up to management and how they see it. If they're desperately trying to make the playoffs next season, then they might consider keeping Doc. But for the dynamics of the group, of the team, I don't think Doc is suitable for the team. Which is why I don't think we should extend it.
That's totally fair.
How does that breakdown sound?
That sounds great. I mean, yeah, I completely agree. Honestly, that not that I'm have the same reasons, but they're pretty. I would say they're right on line with that. You don't have to do it now. Take in like what you said about the Garland whole thing. You'll have more value at next year's trade deadline if you don't extend him, because he'll be a UFA, and teams are going to want
because at
guys like that.
Like it's going to be a double-edged sword either way, right? Because Doc is looking for, at 27 years old, and I think what Irvin is saying, he's going to be 28 in June, so 28 at next season.
To start the season,
he's minimum going to be looking for a 5-6 year deal.
Yeah. And
are the Canucks ready for contention by then?
Probably
Doc is like a top 9, energy line, 3rd line, 4th line kind of player. You can go and find these players, in the off season, and it's going to be costing you the same amount. So it makes no sense. But if he plays lights out, then at the trade deadline, you can get something good for him. So don't extend it.
Definitely. Next up, Liam Ogren. Yes or no?
Oh, 100%.
Mm.
Liam Ogren is part of this core. Liam Ogren, I think, is 21, I believe. Let me double check that. And he is going to be part of this core. And he is one of those players. He's 22 years old, actually. I'm sorry about that. He's played very well since coming to Vancouver. He, fits the team perfectly. He'll still be an RFA, I believe.
Yeah.
In 2027. If this is what you believe in with this sample size, I mean, it's not a huge sample size. It's been since December, right? Or let's say January, for the sake of like him actually playing for the Canucks. Because I think Quinn's trade was December 19th or 17th
December 12th.
or whatever. Okay, 12th. So Ogren, pretty much, let's just say he started playing in January. So January until it's a good 4-month sample size. I think it's good enough. If he's up for doing an 8-year deal, sign it. If he's not, then don't extend it. The only thing is, if he will sign an 8-year deal, you do it. But if he's like, even for a 7-year deal, I would sign him. Because after the 15th, I believe it goes down to 6. The max is 6 years. So
for a team extending someone, and then the free agent is, I believe, 7.
Yeah. So if only if he'll do 7 or 8 years, then extend him. If he doesn't, then just wait it out. Like I would do a, for Ogren, if he's willing to extend an 8-year deal, I'd give him 7. Do like a 7x7, 7x8. But if he's not willing to do that long, then just wait it out. Yeah.
That is totally fair. And they do kind of mention that in the article too, where they they mentioned you might not want to hand him a full 8-year deal, but you could easily sign him at a reasonable rate for 4 to 6 years. Could sound appealing as well.
No, because if 4 to 6, yeah, that's true. But I think for Ogren, with his upside, with the sample size and how he's worked well with this team, and also looking at his pre-draft, draft +1, this guy can play. If you get the right players with him, he can play. And I would love to see him with Lekaramaki to start the next season. I think it would be great to have Lekaramaki and Ogren to do either the 3rd line or the 4th line to start the season. If they have enough players, then give them top line Abby. But no, I don't think so. Like, I think depending on who they draft at this year's draft, the way I see it is, if the Canucks are lucky enough, to get McKenna and the Ruck twins, is put them in Abby, give them top line minutes till the end of the year, and then bring them up in the new year. And then at that point, you would have, so I would have Ogren with Lekaramaki playing the 3rd line with Bluger, probably, if not the 4th line, with Ratu, and then move the kids up. So yeah, that's what I would do.
All right, excuse me, we have 3 more. Next up, DPD.
Oh, yes. Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with DPD. I mean, you don't necessarily have to do it this year, but I wouldn't be mad if they did do it this year.
Can we do
Yeah,
DPD 8x6 or 6x8?
I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
6x8 would be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, we got Nick
Yeah,
in the house.
definitely. Windy City, good to see you, Nick. Yeah, definitely need the toughness for sure, and I love what he's been showing, or the toughness that he's shown for most of the season too, where he's not afraid to scrap. Next up, who's also kind of been throwing a little bit of toughness as of late, at least that I've noticed as of late, and kind of been throwing the body around. Atu Ratu, yes or no, extending him?
Yeah, but okay. Here's the sort of caveat. They need to play him. They need to give him the minutes.
Yeah.
They need to allow him to flourish. Sitting him in the press means nothing. Like if you extend him and you sit him in the press, you might as well not extend him. But if you have a plan going forward, like look at this core right now. You have Buum, you have Ogren, you have Ratu, you have Rossi. Like, yeah, of course you need Ratu. Like this is your leading face-off guy in Vancouver right now. And he has that toughness. Like you have Ratu and DPD. Come on, man. Like that's great going forward. But I don't see the Canucks giving him a 7-year. Like I think they're gonna do like a bridge deal for Ratu. Especially if they keep Foot.
Yeah.
If they keep Foot as head coach, then yeah, maybe like a 2-3 year deal.
I did mention this earlier before you hopped on, how much, I love how physical he's been as of late. And I also mentioned how I wouldn't be opposed. Like, I'm not saying he has to do this, but I wouldn't mind if he ended up putting on some muscle this summer so he could keep, dishing out those hits. I mean, he doesn't have to. Obviously, we want him to focus on, face-offs and whatnot. But if he wants to add, some, a little bit of Kiefer Sherwood to his game a little bit when it comes to the hits, I wouldn't complain. If he wanted to, throw on a few pounds and gain some muscle, I wouldn't be mad at it.
If he can learn anything from Sherwood, then yeah. Because looking at Sherwood's last off season, and I heard because the Sharks were playing Philly today, and the reporters were asking Rick Tocchet about Sherwood. They called him Keither. When I heard that, I was just like, he's been there for a couple of months already. The guy's like Chief Keith. Why would you call him Keither? Like, are you? And this is the San Jose reporter, like the Sharks reporter. Yeah. Anyways, great story. Tocchet was saying how he called him in the offseason, just checking in, and like they typically do that, and the coach will call them, and the players are like, yeah, I'm training, I'm in the gym, blah blah. He heard pucks in the background. He knew this was like July. This was July or like early August, and this guy's in the rink shooting pucks, working on a shot. So if you have the work ethic of like, this is why Kiefer Sherwood deserves that 5.75. Like this guy worked his ass off in the summer. He deserves every penny. And San Jose gave it to him. So if Atu Ratu can do something like that, power to him, and the Canucks should do it right away. Like training camp, extend him. Like if he shows that work ethic, extend him. Like extend him early. Because you're not going to be able to get another like face-off guy like him to replace Bo, who we lost, who also worked his ass off that off season before he got traded. And these players don't grow off trees. Like, work ethic is something that you don't like. I mean, you can it can change, like you can get it, but if that person has that work ethic, you should just keep them. It's like the Sedins. Like, this is a perfect example, and I think this is what Atu Ratu needs to do. But yeah, beef him up. But yeah, I think what Stevie's saying, 1.5 for 4 years. No, I would give him, like, if he does beef up in the off season and works on everything, like the details and all of that, I'd be willing to go as high as 3 for 5 years. 3 million for 5 years, because the thing is, with this rebuild, you don't know when it's going to happen. Like, you're going to have to go through at least 2 drafts before you actually have like a legit like playoff team, and the year after it'd be a contender. And if you have Ratu, in the system, signed, ready to go, then yeah, 3 million, 5 years.
Plus, he's still relatively young. I think some people kind of forget that he is still really young. I think he's not even 25. He's like, what, 22, 23?
He is 23. Trying to find his birthday. But as of right now, as we speak, he is 23. November. So he'll be 24 in November. Yeah, man.
Relatively young.
Jump all over that. Jump all over that.
Last one, my boy, Tolipilo. Yes or no?
Dude, there's like, not until you fix this goalie situation, there's no point in talking about it. There's absolutely no point talking about it.
And as much as I love Tolo, I'm not even saying do it. No. Like, it's literally like, if they need to trade him to avoid placing him on waivers, although that being said, they might get better value if he had term, like in a trade. If he has term, but you don't have to do it this year. You can wait.
No, you don't have time to wait. You have to make a decision by November 2nd. You have to make this decision by November 2nd. You have to have this goalie situation sorted out before November 2nd, and then you do it. So if you're able to figure that out, then yeah. He's not a UFA. I mean, he's not an RFA at the end of the season. He still has another year. So actually, I'm sorry, he's a UFA in 27 because he's 25. If he's not lost to waivers. But yeah, I am pretty sure this is. I'm pretty sure this is Wit, who's in Taiwan right now. Yeah, because if it's not Wit, yeah, it has to be Wit.
Yeah. All right. That was that article. So that was done. There was something else I want to talk to you, non-game related, and I think someone mentioned it earlier, talking about the Ruck Twins. I know you touched on the Ruck Twins. I might have some bad.
Stevie. Hold
Stevie
up.
mentioned it.
I'm gonna pull up that. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this up because Stevie and I kind of talked about it earlier today. Uh, Stevie's in a group chat with me, and he threw this picture, which I technically can find on my phone, but he was talking about Craig Button's top 10 draft picks, and funny enough, Liam Ruck is top 10 right now.
Yeah.
On his list. And that is scary.
Yeah.
That's like really scary because God, where is it? I remember seeing it in the chat. But anyways, it's why I say this is because it's going to be very hard for the Canucks to get both Ruck twins if they get McKenna at this point right now. I mean, the only scenario where this works is somehow they're able to get another top 10 pick. Because, I mean, Craig Button is saying 10, but I don't think teams would go like the 10th overall pick is not going to be like, oh, we're going to take Ruck because Craig Button told us to.
Yeah.
But he's going to land. His stock right now is so high because of what they're doing in Medicine Hat right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Their season just ended. Their season just ended, and they both are at over 100 points.
Yeah. So it's at this point right now, if you get McKenna, that means you're going to have to package, because let's put it this way. Whoever gets Liam Ruck, they're going to try to get his brother.
Oh, yeah.
Like no team, like I don't think any team will take the brothers separately. They're twins, for God's sakes. The last time this happened was the Sedin twins. And if some way the Canucks can, let's put it this way. If Minnesota loses in the first round and that pick becomes, I think it would be a top 20 pick if they lose in the first round. Actually, I'm sorry. It would be probably a top 16. Like if they lose in the first round, it could potentially be a top 16 pick. Because it's by ranking it by positioning, right? So if they get knocked out, they could potentially be, because 8 teams make it on each side, so it'd be top 16. If they can somehow, if Minnesota loses, if they package that 16 overall or that Minnesota pick with someone else like Niels Höglander, or they throw something else into it to get into the top 10 or top 15, great. Because if Minnesota does lose, okay, if Minnesota ends up winning, then their pick's going to be like 31, 30, 29, 28. So it'd be a lower first round pick. Then you'd find a harder way to move back up. But if they lose in the first round, then it'd be easier for the Canucks to somehow creep up to top, 10 to 15. And at that point, if you get the Ruck, if you get Liam, then you're going to have to find a way to move your second round pick higher if the other brother is projected higher. So it's going to take a lot of maneuvering, but it also has to, like, we'll know by May 5th. We'll know by May 5th because that's when the draft lottery happens, right? And we'll know if Minnesota is still playing or not at that point. Then you'll know if you can get the Ruck twins.
Yeah. Yeah, I was literally gonna almost say the same thing. Although I'm hearing that, I think Liam is the one who's Craig Button said was top 10. Like he's the higher ranked between the two. They're saying Marcus could be first round. Like he's moved up into potentially the first round.
I wouldn't doubt that, to be very honest.
So both of them may be out of the Canucks' range unless they were to, like you mentioned, trade up their Minnesota pick or even getting another second round pick on top of that. Somehow having 2 first round picks back to back, that would be really the only way they'd be able to get the Red Twins at this point, I'm thinking.
Like it's very unlikely because at this point right now, unless the Canucks somehow fall to third, they're not going to get McKenna. Then they can probably get a back to back. But if they get first overall, there's no way they're going to trade that first overall just to get the Ruck Twins.
Oh hell no, no way.
Other scenario, hypothetical scenario would be if they get second overall. Would you and the other team picks Gavin, would you give up on Stenberg and trade down? I mean, obviously, if you get third, you're going to trade down. Yeah. But if it's a second and it's Stenberg, would you trade?
No, I wouldn't.
I would trade it to Chicago. I hope Nick is in here. I would trade it to Chicago so Stenberg can go to Chicago. And then at that point, I think Chicago would probably have a top. They'd have a top 5 pick. And then this is gonna take like some Brian Burke magic. And I don't know if if you somehow lose out on the Gavin sweepstakes, would you go as far as trading to get back-to-back first-round picks to draft both twins, like how Berkey did it?
How Berkey did with this team?
Like, would you do that? But it's different, obviously, because the Sedins were ranked, pretty much second and third.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
So would you rather lose out on McKenna and have both twins, or have McKenna and lose out on the twins? You probably rather McKenna.
I'd rather have McKenna, yeah.
But imagine that magic that could happen with the Sedins coaching or mentoring these twins.
Yeah.
And here's a side note, because I was talking to someone about, I was talking to Stevie when he was giving me the sticks about how PD got his 500 point this season. So I think it was 200 goals and 300 assists. It's like perfect 500. Second quickest. And the Sedins of all people took more games. So the Sedin's trajectory it goes up. Whereas PD was just boom, and now it's coming down, and he finally reaches it. So if you're able to have the twins mentor these kids, it could be like another PD, but stay up there. Imagine the Canucks again, the only team in NHL history that would have 2 separate sets of twins and killing it. That would be amazing. I mean, as much as I love McKenna, I think I would go for the twins. And I hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the ass, but I would love to see the twins.
That is pretty fair.
Yeah.
We already kind of talked about the Bouillon thing and the extension. We kind of already covered that already earlier. I was gonna talk about that separately, but we already kind of covered that. I did want to talk about this because I know you missed on the last post-game show where I actually kind of talked about it with Big Brain Rain on the last post-game show. But you and I haven't had a chance to talk about it. Obviously, they came down with the verdict on the Zari Greer thing, where Greer got suspended 3 games. I still think 3 games is a fucking joke, considering how bad that play looked. I mean, Zari could have broken his neck. Just the way he went into the boards. And what scares the crap out of me is the way he grabbed his neck afterwards. He instantly grabbed his neck. But I just thought this was a joke and a missed opportunity by Peros. He could have thrown the book at him. Been like, you don't do that. I've heard everyone has said this was a, BS play. He shouldn't have done this. He was so far from the boards too when he shoved him.
Yeah.
And he shoved him like in the back shoulder area, like above the numbers. He shoved him and was in complete control of that situation too.
This is Peros we're talking about.
I know.
He gave Gudas 5. He gave Gudas 5 games for someone that's it's repeat offenses. He gave Gudas 5 games, and he started playing tonight, and the fans were booing his ass.
Oh yeah,
I don't know why the Canucks fans are booing Gudas. Like, it does. Maybe it's for Sid. I don't know, but for sure it's not for Matthews.
Oh heck no. No,
but that was pretty. Yeah. So. Yeah. I don't know, man. They need another safety guy, man. Like, this guy's kind of dropping the ball.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that a lot of people have been talking about, how this was a missed opportunity. Like, he could have rectified that whole Gudas Matthews thing by throwing the book at Greer and kind of been like, we are consistent. No, you're fucking not. But also, I think Rain...
Well, it shows it's consistent right now.
Yeah.
Because he only had 3 games.
Yeah, consistently inconsistent. But I think Big Brain said 3. So he was bang on for that. I think I said 5. Am I predicting what the suspension would be? And I was watching the Steve Dangle podcast earlier because Steve went off on this because Steve's absolutely hates Peros now, for obvious reasons, but even more so with this. And even
I don't think he has many fans, anyways.
Yeah,
look at this down here. Intent to injure, so automatic 10 games and a fine of 100,000.
Yeah, that's another thing too. It was intent to injure. Like, why would you made the decision to shove him that far away from the boards? You intended to potentially break this guy's neck. And you used to be teammates with this guy too. Because him and Zari played together with the Flames.
Maybe they had some blood, but maybe they had some JTPD kind of shit in the backgrounds. Maybe.
But I do think this hit is a little slightly worse than the Matthews Gudas one. Just because of, how bad it could have been. With, the way Zari's head went into the boards, it could have been a lot worse. As I mentioned, very well could have broken his neck. I already touched on Zari grabbing his neck afterwards. Although I think Zari's, last I heard, I think he's okay. Because I think they showed him in the post, after the game in the locker room. He had a bunch of ice bags on his neck. And I think he, kind of like how we have the axe, I think he handed whatever the Flames have for, whoever, ends up, I don't know, I guess, being player of the game or getting their version of an axe at the end of the game. I think he handed it off to somebody. So he had a big ass ice bag on the back of his neck at the end of the game there. And perhaps this whole scenario, this whole thing just irks me, hits me a little bit personally, because I've broken my neck before. And just seeing this pisses me off, because I know what it's like to break your neck. And I know just seeing like the replays of this and the fact that, they slapped him with a 3-game suspension, only 3 games, and he's a repeat offender. He's done well. He's not done something like this before, but I know he's cross-checked Mike Hoffman in the face. I think he got 1-game suspension, I think, for that. But he cross-checked a guy in the face with his stick, and then goes and pulls this, where, like I said, you could have broken the guy's neck. He should have at least, as what was it, that comment mentioned, intent to injure, automatic 10 games. Like, if this was Shanahan, that guy, Greer, would have gotten 10 games.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down. But I think George Peros is a fucking B, and be kicked out. He's fit to run this.
Well, Peros has been the president of the NHL's Department of Safety since 2017.
9 years. Yeah, so almost.
It might be
9 years or so.
It might be time.
Yeah.
For a change.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Peros was a goon back in the day.
Yeah, no one like. I only remember him when he played for Anaheim. I think he played for Anaheim, right?
Yeah, he did. He
also played for the for the Habs.
Played for the Panthers too.
Yeah, he wasn't a very stand-up guy back then either, though.
No,
he was such
one thing I do fondly remember of Peros is him getting knocked the fuck out in a game. I forget which game it was, but I saw like a little clip of it on YouTube or something where he got knocked the fuck out by a guy. I think it was may have been a Maple Leaf. I couldn't see who exactly it was, but he got knocked the F out. And this was when he was with, I think, Montreal. The guy full on like knocked him out. So I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was pretty funny. But Adam Wilde on the Steve Dangle network did point this out. Some people are kind of bringing this up. Like, I don't think it has too much weight, but the fact that he played for the Ducks, he played for the Panthers, and the last 2 suspensions have been a Ducks player and a Panthers player, and they've both not gotten good enough suspensions. He's gone easy on the suspensions. Some people are kind of connecting the dots on that.
Yeah, I think he needs to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, did you talk about like how in depth did you talk about the game today?
Pretty in depth. I had like I don't know if you can see the notes, but I have a lot. I had pregame notes. Okay. I had notes from the first period alone, second period, and then the third period. I even had like the Corsi and the expected goals.
Wow, you're prepared today.
Oh yeah, I was full. I even had high danger chances, scoring chances.
Wow, you're learning from us.
Yeah, here I'll look at the high danger from the first period, just because since I know you missed it. High danger chances in the first.
No, it's okay.
Period.
I can go back and look. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, they were 4-1 for the Ducks in the first period.
Yeah, the game was it. I actually threw in a bet at like mid third period. I thought the Canucks would have tied it. Like I had a feeling. Well, I thought they'd finish off the whole Canadian wins tonight. 6 out of the 7 won tonight, and Canucks were the only one to falter. Like it just sucks. Like to wear this jersey, and it's just like you're the only Canadian team that didn't win tonight. How like it's just super disappointing.
My bad, Irvin. I must have been part of the clip that I watched. It looked like the player knocked him out. But no, apparently his face just simply hit the ice. And he knocked himself, and that's how he got knocked out. So that was my mistake on that. That's why you do your research, kids. Just it looked like he got knocked out because the player was kind of standing over him, so it looked like he got knocked out. But it was in a fight.
So what did you think of PD's game tonight?
I thought it was okay. I know he only had like the one shot attempt, so he technically did not have any actual registered shot on goals, but he did have that one attempt that he kind of gaffed a little bit on, where it looked like he kind of double clutched a little bit, and then it got blocked.
You
but yeah,
need a bug zapper.
Oh, I know, totally. I didn't think it was too terrible. I mean, like I said, he had 2 points.
Okay.
He got 2 assists.
Let's put this aside from special teams. How did PD play?
Aside from the special teams, I'll admit I didn't notice him too much.
Yeah,
not like on 5-on-5. I didn't, except for that. Wait, I think that was that one shot attempt was actually on the power play. So yeah, other than that, I didn't notice him too much on 5-on-5.
Yeah, it just feels like no wonder the arena was kind of just silent when he got the 500th point. I mean, he did save an empty net goal, which ended up, there was an empty net goal anyways. But
that was awesome, by the way. That was awesome. I love that he did that.
We've seen so many of these already. I think we get so accustomed to it at the point when the goal's empty, PD's always going to play goalie.
You have to admit though, that was a nice little blocker saved by PD off the glove.
But at this point right now, given the whole situation, the contract, like, he's like, I was looking at his contract when I was talking with that fellow Adam, and he needs to. I think he needs a fresh start. Like right now, there's no pressure because they're pretty much a lock for 32nd in the league. And he's playing a little more free, I guess. But given the amount that you're paying him, it's actually only $11 million next year. The last 2 years, this season and last season, he was being paid 14.5. And then after next season, which is 11, it goes back up to 14.45, I think. Or 14.45 or 14.75. And then it dramatically dips to 8.7. I think we're gonna see PD during this rebuild. And then it probably won't be until those latter years, the last 4 years, that he gets traded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I can see that. I mean, I'm just looking at his stats right now. They haven't updated them as of like tonight, but he's matched his point total from last season. I know that doesn't mean shit, but he's matched it from last season.
Well, I mean, at this point right now, given the amount of money that he's being paid, this kind of falls into what I'm trying to say is Irvin kind of knows me, but are you happy with how he's turned out? Like, obviously, we're talking about, you know, he's the second quickest player to reach 500 points, even before the Sedins, but he had a hot start in his career, and then it's kind of
gone
like,
down.
Pettersson petered off, but
Petered off.
But you know, seeing him play so well defensively, or try to play defensively, does that make up for it? So being paid first line minutes, or paying 11.6 for as a first line center, or what you have right now where he's the second line center, but he plays very well defensively. Does that make up for him not being a first line center? I mean, we don't have Justin in the house tonight, so I know what his answer is, but if in chat, like, do you like, what do you guys think about this? Like, I am trying to wrap my head around, you know, they paid this guy first 1C money, but he's become a 2C that has this defensive arsenal now. Is that equivalent to first C, or would you rather him play like a first C for that money? That's kind of my way of looking at the whole thing. Like, what would you say? Like, is it worth paying him this amount of money? Because right now it is kind of front loaded, and he hasn't performed. That's why people are really pissed off.
Yeah.
Because his first year, second year is 14.5, then it drops down to 11. Like, I actually went and looked at all of this before coming on the stream, so we can talk about this. Goes down to 11, and then it goes back up to 14 point whatever. I can't remember. It was 14.45 or 14.75, and then it dramatically dips to 8.7 for the rest, I think. So, given that, I mean, the expectations are obviously high for 14.5. You're getting paid like more than McDavid, but McDavid scores like double, if not triple, the amount of points that he gives. But he offers this defensive side of things. Is this enough to cover for that?
I would say no. At least for me personally, no. I would want more. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like that he's shown a two-way game. He's a lot better defensively, but you're not paid 11.6 to just be a two-way player. You're paid to put the puck in the fucking net. So
yeah. that's
I know Stevie. I know Stevie was gonna be like, "Fuck no."
I brought this up just to see if Stevie was still in the chat.
And Stevie says, "Or block shots." Yeah, you don't pay him to block shots.
So yeah.
But hey, at least he's healthier than Demko when it comes to goaltending.
Okay, but to get rid of PD, I think a lot of teams actually, like LA, Carolina, have probably sniffed around. And I think they want the Canucks to retain about 20%, which is like $2 to $3 million. So would you give up? Let's say let's make it easy. We'll make PD. We'll retain 2.6. How's that? So that makes PD a $9 million player. Is that not like, would that entice any teams? A $9 million player that can play defense, that can somehow score, or that can probably even score more when he has better players around him. Would a team go for that? Is what I'm kind of curious about. because he has that potential. I mean, like he has these games here and there that, like, I think it was a handful of games before, and he scored 2 goals that game. And then
Yeah, against
tonight he
Florida.
had a few assists, and yeah.
Yeah.
Would you be happy for $9 million?
Yeah, I would. Because I don't think the Canucks
Right?
are going to
So-
go any higher than that when it comes to retaining. I think they're already not big on retaining on his contract.
Who do you think would be a great trade partner and has the assets?
Well, I would have said Carolina if they still had Natchez. But I
Okay,
think
well,
right
without
now,
Natchez.
maybe right now LA.
Okay, LA I think would be a good fit, like for on and off the ice,
Mm-hmm.
because they could use a center, they could use a 2C. I would say Kempe probably plays first line, and he can play second. Off ice, like his wife would love LA.
Well, Kempe's
And
a
it's
winger.
Oh, sorry. Fuck. Who am
Because
I?
Kopitar
Who
is
am I thinking of?
retiring.
So
Kopitar's
Kopitar
retiring.
would be gone. Fiala
So
will be
Petey
back
would-
next year.
So Petey would probably replace Kopitar if that trade went through.
Yeah, but what assets would you get back that would be enough? That's the problem. Like at this point right now, I don't think he can even get JT assets.
No. Well, because I don't think you're going to get Byfield from LA.
Oh no, they need a stopgap before Byfield can bloom and flourish. They want Byfield to be 1C.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they want him to take over from Kopitar.
But they need someone in between to transition. I think Petey would be a great, like, okay, if you can go back to that 23 season and you have Kuzmenko and Petey, and then you throw in, let's say, Kempe, that'd be a good first line.
Yeah.
But the assets coming back, like if that's the only team, like Petey's like, oh, I just want to go to LA, then you're screwed. Then you're in a situation where it's like the bread man and New York, and they only fish what? It was like a Garland deal. That's what Panarin got New York. It was like a Garland deal, but obviously there was no term on it. So if that's the scenario, would you be okay if, let's say, no salary retained and you get a second and a third round pick for PD?
And I think the Rangers retain like 50% on Panarin's contract.
No, but that's only for this year, though.
Yeah.
There's the rest of the
just
season.
this year.
That's not a lot.
And then he got extension like right afterwards.
Yeah. But still, like retaining 50 for the rest of the season isn't a lot of money. But if at the beginning of the next season or even at the draft, LA's like, hey, let's revisit this. We'll give you a second and a third. You don't have to retain. Would you take that deal? And Stevie, I'm looking at you right now. Oh, he says yep.
Although I'm seeing Irvin saying in the chat that he doesn't know if Byfield is living up to his job position.
Oh, it doesn't matter the
is
draft
true.
position, to be very honest. It doesn't matter. I mean, as long as he can make 1C, that's fine. Maybe it takes some more time.
Yeah, I think what Irvin is actually saying is he hasn't really bloomed as quick as LA probably would have liked.
Yeah. So,
but some players maybe take a little bit longer.
I mean, you have players like, okay,
but I
this
do
is a
know
perfect
Byfield's
example.
name was in trade talks when it comes to PD. Like people were going to Byfield, and since the beginning, I've been like, yeah, they're not going to get Byfield out of LA. LA's going to want a haul for him.
Yeah. I mean,
Same
if you look
thing
at
with
players,
Brent Clark, they're going to want a haul for him. They're not getting him out of LA either. Young defenseman.
you know, I wouldn't be surprised if LA at some point, like next year, if they don't do very well with Kopitar, they could go into a rebuild. They can sell off Byfield. They can sell off
Kempe.
what is it? Clark? Well,
Yeah.
Kempe. Dude, Kempe was on such a good deal. He re-signed for such a good deal. I thought he would ask for more. So yeah, I mean, don't be surprised if LA becomes like the next rebuild team. But I mean, for them, it could be a quick turnaround.
Do you think if they do rebuild, do you think they'd ship off Breadman? If they go into a rebuild? Breadman. Panarin.
What does he resign to? Because what is the extension?
It wasn't that long of a deal, like term wise. It was short. I think it was like what, 3 years, something like that? Term? 2 or 3 years.
Well, he is 30. He is 34.
Yeah.
And he got a 2-year for 11 mil. He's gonna be 36 by the time he goes to UFA.
And he's making like
year
21
for
million.
37. 22. So it's 11 million. So it's 22 million contract. Yeah, I don't know. I think they signed them. They signed him to a 2-year deal. I think specifically because they don't know what's going to happen next year. And if they don't do well, they might end up trading him. Like that's how it looks like. Anyways, we're at 2 hours. Let's
Is there a potential for Doughty retiring with Kopitar from Isildur? Do you think that Doughty would retire along with Kopitar, even though he hasn't announced anything?
No, I think Doughty will play one more year. He's played okay.
Yeah, maybe Doughty retires like next season.
He's at 11
like a year
million
after Kopitar.
A year. He's a UFA next off season, and he'll be 37. I think he plays out his contract, and that's it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised for that.
So,
yeah,
and I can see if they don't do well, Doughty's gonna be traded in the offseason at the trade deadline. I just want to see if he has a no movement.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does.
Modified 17
Modified, not
trade
trade
list. So yeah, next year it'd be 7 teams. I wouldn't be surprised if you know, he gets traded in at the deadline next year. The Kings don't make the playoffs. And then they try to get him one more cup. Here's my hot take. Here's my hot take. If the Sharks somehow do well, they make the playoffs this year, get that experience, and next year they're very close. They get someone in the offseason. They have Sherwood, they have Celebrini, they have Misa, they have they get some experience in the playoffs this year. I'm gonna call this Doughty goes to San Jose at the trade deadline.
I wouldn't be surprised by that. I'm not gonna lie.
Reunite with Toffoli. Reunite with Toffoli. That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that. I did want to highlight this real quick from Urban. LA, just talked about Brant Clark, the defenseman. They need Clark because he's very young, and like you said, they probably regret selling off Brock Faber. Because remember, LA had
Oh,
Brock Faber.
100%. They were dumb for trading Brock Faber.
Oh yeah,
That was the dumbest move ever.
I forget what trade was that again, but they traded Faber. I'm just quickly looking that up.
And if that Faber trade didn't happen, it was last off season. It was Faber and a first round pick. Which
Oh, that was the
was
Fiala
Liam
trade.
Ogren.
That was the Fiala trade.
And ironically, it was used to select Ogren. And they got Fiala.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Kings traded Faber and the 2022 first round selection, which ended up being Ogren, to the Wild for Kevin Fiala. So they did get Fiala in the deal, but man, losing out on Faber, as good as Fiala is, and then of course the Wild get Ogren on top of that.
Yeah.
The big OG, ORGE, the ogre. I don't think our boys in here.
See, if
Connor.
that didn't happen, I don't think Minnie would have gone.
I don't think the Canucks get them.
No, I don't think Minnie would have traded for Quinn.
No.
Yeah.
Because that's
imagine
been such
if,
a great pairing, Faber and Quinn.
Imagine if LA traded Brock Faber to the Canucks for PD and we had Ogren.
Ooh.
Then we would have had Brock Faber and Quinn as a top pair.
Oh man.
But then Hronek would be expendable or he would play second line, and that'd be too much.
True.
But that was, yeah. Yeah, I think they should have traded instead of Brock Faber, they should have traded. I mean, they obviously see the upside in Clark.
Yeah.
Because he's younger too, right? So
yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of a dumb but to get Fiala and they traded Faber and a first for Fiala.
Yeah.
That is so much.
Mm-hmm. And Clark's 23.
Yeah.
So he's
a
still
lot of potential.
Relatively young. All right, let's get into the sponsor read because we're 2 hours and 8 minutes into this. Not that I'm complaining.
I think let's just end it.
Well, I need to do the sponsor.
So just do the sponsor, like the end read, and we'll call it a night. While Tyler prepares for that, if you guys have any more questions, we'll do an extra maybe 3 minutes of comments, and then we'll go off. But we'll let Tyler do his read.
Right, looking at the lines, only 2 games tomorrow. Bruins and Sabres, Rangers and Leafs. I'm gonna go with the Bruins and the Sabres. Reading that one. Bruins are at a plus 1.5 and a minus 148 on the puck line. Sabres are a minus 1.5 and a plus 124 on the puck line. Bruins are a plus 170 on the money line, and the Sabres are a minus 205 on the money line for tomorrow. And of course, please keep in mind odds are subject to change. And of course, please play responsibly. All right, let's get the Of course, this post-game show is brought to us by DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois, 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario, restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which will expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. This is a limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL, all rights reserved. This video has been a presentation of both DraftKings Sportsbook as well as the Hockey Podcast Network. Be sure to check out the network for your favorite podcast covering your favorite team at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com, the home of hockey podcasts, where it's every team, everywhere. All right. See if there's a few more questions.
This is interesting. I could see that happening. If Anaheim stays hot and wins the Pacific. Yeah, they could potentially face the Kings. That'd be a great Cali face off, like a first round.
But Urban also has a good point too. LA needs a lot of luck to make the wild card, though.
Yeah, I think Seattle is pushing hard. So yeah, it's gonna suck if Kopitar doesn't make the playoffs for his last year.
Stevie, 2 hours more. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Big Brain Rain and I went almost 4 hours on what was it? On Sunday or whatever.
Hey Stevie, I kind of saw that one and I was like, oh my God, you're still on. But Stevie, if you want to jump on, I can hop off and you can continue the show with Tyler. I'm sure Tyler doesn't mind staying on for another 2 hours.
And meet at Honey's Donuts. You gonna buy us donuts, Stevie? Is that what you're saying? I mean, I wouldn't mind.
Dude, they're not
Honey's Donuts. Well,
bro, they're not.
Well,
open.
I don't.
They don't.
I know not right now, but
Stevie, are you trying to ask me to bring you some Honey's Donuts tomorrow when I meet up with you? Actually, you know what, Stevie, come over to North Van. We'll go skate. I'm gonna grab some skates and then we can go skate over at what is it? Wings and can't even remember what that place is called. I think it's Wings and Waves or Wings and Things or whatever. Yeah.
Urban, lots of that was nonsense. Yeah, I know. I said in that post game, the last post game, I was in a goofy mood that night. I do have an ad blocker. It just did not work on that particular site for some reason. Urban, don't you dare bring up the KD word. You know what I'm talking about.
What KD word?
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. I mean,
What?
knowing Urban, he's gonna post it in the chat. Knowing Urban.
Post it.
Oh fuck. Yeah, it's just like what Stevie says. that was, we've heard of Loopy Clay. That was me, Loopy, in that post game. Oh, even Stevie knows.
What is
Stevie
this?
knows.
Just say it. I haven't even rewatched it yet.
There was a little advertisement in the corner because I was sharing the screen I was doing the tankathon thing, and there was a little advertisement in the corner that said Korea dates, and it had a good-looking Korean girl, and I was slightly distracted.
Distracted.
See, Stevie, where's the Korean dates girl?
Who is this? Sorry, who is this person?
Oh, it's probably freaking Irvin. Freaking Irvin. I bet you anything it's Irvin. Why do you think he's gone silent?
No,
he went quiet. No, this is
no,
I think this is Irvin.
Oh my
Irvin
God.
changed his name.
No, he did not. Okay, anyways, it's 2:16, even though I jumped on a little late. Oh my God, it's almost been 2 hours for me too. Actually, no. Yeah, because I came in like maybe half an hour late. OSGA. Okay, I'm done. I'm done for that. I really need to get some sleep. I have a lot of stuff to do tomorrow in preparation for Thursday. And I still need to do some laps around the rink tomorrow. So yeah, I'm gonna call it a night.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, make sure I mean Irvin's still here, but make sure to check us out, Headspace Hockey, on Friday at 10 p.m. I'm actually kind of hesitant on that because I'm probably going to be passed the hell out on Friday. But yeah, we'll see you guys on Friday. Hopefully, I have some good content for you guys. And if you guys want this to continue to go, because actually we have almost 50 people watching still, ironically.
No, I'm probably gonna end this
Facebook
as well.
Stevie, I'll send you the link. Stevie, I'll send you the link so you can continue this with Tyler.
No,
And you guys
I got stuff
Koreans.
I need to do. No. So yeah, no, you
seriously, is that
definitely
Irvin? Irvin, can you tell me, is that you? Because he's jumping back on now. So Irvin's there. And then that Heyman is not. Okay, whatever. I don't care at this point. It's like almost 1:30. I need to get some sleep.
Yeah, likewise.
Okay,
I got
let's call it a
some
night.
videos I want to do for tomorrow. So yeah, we're gonna end it there. Thank you guys for watching. A lot more in depth of a post game than we usually have. Like when it comes to like topics and stuff like that, I had a pretty big lineup for us to go over and whatnot. So no SGA, we're gonna shut down. So, but glad you guys enjoyed this. I know it was another loss, but it's like what I said at the top of this. For once, and unfortunately, we weren't able to get Adam Foote's post-game comments. I meant to grab that earlier, but it's okay. But I said at the top, we were right there. This was actually the one game we were right there. So once again, thank you guys for watching.
Adam Foote's interview, you guys go watch that. It was kind of weird. So that's what I can tell you.
I'm actually gonna definitely go do that actually because I meant to have it on here. So, and I want to see if he actually says it. We were right there. You're right there.
No, he
But
actually didn't.
Glad you guys. Oh, he didn't? Fuck.
No.
Perfect opportunity to say it. Because it actually would have made sense. Because they were right there. They had a chance to win this game. But Dostal.
No, he said they played well 90% of the time. That's what he said, I think. But don't quote me. Go rewatch it. He said something like, "Oh, we were there like 90% of the game."
So he still kind of said we were there. So he still led with we were there. But anyway, thanks you guys for watching. Gerald will not be back for the next post game because he mentioned he's going to be
I'll
at
drop
Rogers
by
Arena
in the chat.
all day.
Yeah,
if he can, he'll probably drop by in the chat. So I'll probably be doing that solo. Maybe I'll see if Big Brain wants to maybe hop on again. Not do the exact same thing as last time, but kind of come on. I am trying to get Tyson Cole on. I've been talking with Tyson Cole because he actually gave me a shout out in that Booyam video that I did. He really liked that I covered his article. So I'm going to try and get Tyson Cole on. Hopefully, we'll see. But thanks once again, guys, for watching. And we'll catch you guys in the next post-game show.